All right, there we go. Sorry about that. We are live. Naturally, there was, of course, an issue, but we got it worked out. Can't go live without some kind of issue or some kind of interesting thing happening. So, anyway, you know me. I'm Jonathan J.O. Owen, and with me is who are you?
I am Vince Oleson,
With my arm in the way.
Distiller for Widow Jane out of Brooklyn, New York.
Out of Brooklyn, New York. Okay, so that is. Where's Brooklyn, New York? Is it right next to New York?
Brooklyn is in New York City. We're actually in this cool little industrial neighborhood called Red Hook, which is kind of off the beaten path in Brooklyn.
Okay, so now you were also wanting to correct something that I put in the label here. I called you a master distiller. So if you would explain that just a little bit.
I would love to be a master someday, and I hope to be. I aspire to be, but my title is distiller, and I'm committed to being just a distiller. We have a whole team behind us that makes everything flow and work. Everybody at Widow Jane deserves their credit for what we do. So
I understand. It's definitely it's a full team, and I can understand being humble is very, very important. But okay, so we have a couple in chat, so it's good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. All of you who are watching this on re-record, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. You know, the re-record.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
rebroadcast.
The re-live.
Yeah, the re-live. It was live at one time. So anyway, what do you want to start with to tell us about here?
You know, I'd like to lead with our flagship, which is the 10-year-old bourbon.
Okay.
That's kind of what put us on the map. I like to be really upfront about the fact that we're not 10 years old yet. It is a 10-year-old expression. We're gonna be 7 years old this October.
Okay.
We have a distillery party at our distillery in Red Hook. So if you guys want to come, please come and join us for our anniversary party. I think October 13th, somewhere around there. It's gonna be fun. We cannot take all the credit for this. The 10-year is actually really fortunate to work with distilleries out of Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee to create a 5-barrel blend. So super small batch, only 5 barrels at a time go into each blend. So we create that blend, and then so that's one way we put our thumbprint on it. And then we also add our own mineral water to all of our whiskey, and that's another way that we put the thumbprint on it. So I'll start us off.
All right. Oh, that's cool. So it is, because it's bourbon, 100% 10-year-old.
100% 10-year or more.
Or more, yeah. I was trying to see if I could weasel that out of you.
No,
there's anything older than 10 years.
I won't. It's at least 10 years old, and that's all I can commit to.
Okay, gotcha.
Technically it's a blend of straight bourbons, and they're all 10 years or greater in the batch. So pour a little for you here.
All right, man. And we got more glassware right here if you need some.
Good. I'll have a little as well.
Why not? I hate to drink alone.
Yeah.
As well as I'm sure you hate to drink alone as well.
Yeah, just at home, bust out your bottle of Widow Jane 10 and follow along.
Okay.
So,
what do you get? I'd love to know your notes rather than mine. So
one flavor note in Widow Jane that we're really proud of, and we think that kind of helps really kind of carry a thread through all of our batches and even our single barrels when we do those, which we'll get to one of those, is this deep cherry note. We love that, and we love having that as a big part of our profile. You're getting 10 years in a barrel here, so you've got a lot of depth and complexity that's going to come through there. And when some bourbons really kind of ride that caramel line, we feel that ours is a much more deeper, like almost maybe toffee brown sugar, so not so much of that caramel. Obviously a nice dose of vanilla there. There's almost kind of like a spiced vanilla. Even sometimes it's almost a creamed vanilla that comes through.
God, that's beautiful. Thanks for joining us, Rob, and I believe that is My Bourbon Journey who is with us. Oh, the Bearded Beerman. Hey, buddy. It's good to see you too. I couldn't quite read it because you're on my cell phone and it's clear across the room. Hence the reason that I had trouble getting on. A shot or two.
And then you're definitely going to get some of the expression of the char from the barrel. We don't chill filter our whiskey, so you're gonna have even sometimes in the bottle a little faint char that will settle out. And we love that. It's this cool kind of slightly gunpowdery expression that is
Yeah,
a
that
little more
butteriness,
intense.
yeah.
And
Gunpowdery is a very good descriptor right there, because it's that granule finish, that butteriness, in which that is actually really nice. Okay, so which one should we move on to next? Since I know you're on a time crunch and this is an awesome live stream. I was very fortunate for you to agree to this, so thank you.
Yeah, it was kind
Thank
of a
you.
last minute thing. It was pretty fun. Hey, newcomer.
Has a bite to it, a bit. A bite to it, quite a bit. In fact, Rob, it is coming in at 91 proof. This guy is a guy who makes it. So, well, not master distiller, but distiller, head distiller.
Just
Distiller. Okay.
The intensity. So bite intensity. That's something that we really love in all of our products, but especially in our bourbon. We think that the intensity of the expression is a big kind of selling point for us for the product, really the mineral water that goes into it as well helps kind of round that out and just create a really.
Now, where are you
overall
getting your
experience.
mineral water from in New York?
So the water actually comes from this epic limestone mine in the Hudson Valley. So the Hudson Valley is not upstate New York, although in New York City, anything north of the Bronx is pretty much upstate New York. But if you talk to somebody from Buffalo, they'll scoff at you. It's really the Hudson Valley is kind of downstate, and that mineral water mine, where we get the mineral water from, is this limestone mine in a little town called Rosendale, New York. And we actually put that on the label. It's important to us. The town of Rosendale was an epicenter for mining during the formative years of our nation and of New York City. The mine was originally excavated to make up the foundation for the Statue of Liberty, the pedestal for the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, the Brooklyn Bridge, and Grand Central.
So the water filled up that old mine, and you guys are drawing from that.
After the mine was excavated, it pretty much laid vacant. So for the past 200 plus years, it's been filling up with rainfall, filtering through the limestone mountain, giving us this really rich, heavy limestone, intense mineral water that we then blend with all of our
pretty
whiskey.
interesting right there. I mean, such a historical mine, and you're drawing the water from it.
Yeah.
That is really unique. Okay, so I see 3 other offerings sitting on this table.
Yeah, let's go to our ryes next. So the American Oak Rye is it's actually our first rye offering.
Okay.
That we came out with, and this is actually a little bit of a unique rye. It's actually aged partially in ex-bourbon barrels and partially more traditional rye maturation. So it's going to be aged in a new American oak barrel. And so what that does for the profile is it gives us this much more soft rye distillate, rye grain. You get some of the aromatic elements of the rye distillate, some maybe a little bit of citrus, a little bit of like floral elements there, floral rye.
Yeah.
Mid palate, you get some of the roundness from the bourbon barrel. And then on the finish, you get some warm baking spice, maybe cardamom.
This one's still the ABV.
91. Yep.
Okay, and you said it was a used bourbon barrel that this rye is sitting in. So
ex-bourbon.
Okay.
And then some of the rye that goes into the blend is aged more traditionally.
Oh, thanks for stopping in, Thrash Metal. I haven't seen you drop in a while. But when you were talking about the sediment, I don't know if you guys can make this out, but I'm going to hold it up here. You see how kind of it's cloudy, but when you start getting to the bottom, you can kind of make out that there's a bunch of sediment, almost like the bottom of a fish tank or like a lake, of just that little bit of sediment that is in there.
Yeah, and so that's going to be a little bit of the minerality from the water, as well as a little bit of the char from the barrel. Again, we don't chill filter any of our whiskey, so you do have some of that coming through, which we love and embrace. It's something that we like not having a chill filtered product, because you just lose so much of the of those oils and the extra complexity of the whiskey when you chill it down, basically freeze it and then filter it.
That has a, I know this one is made with apple wood, and this one is not. But I still get a large amount of apple on that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, from the rye. Rye always gives me kind of an apple core or an apple stem kind of flavor, apple wood. It's really quite unique.
I can see that.
Okay.
I think that's why the apple wood plays so nicely with that particular.
You guys cannot see it, but there's a little tornado in there. How's it going, Vanessa Kitty? You can just see it's like, literally,
No,
it's like
cool.
a vein of just all those fatty acids in there from the barrel.
Yeah, and some of that's the oil from the apple wood as well. So this is actual.
Hang on, before you pour that, just a second. This is, I know you're the distiller and all, but this is what I do, guys. It's mostly tradition for me, but I've been yelled at numerous times by a few guys
do it.
because
I know what you're gonna do.
Because he liked it for that last bite for the spider. But what I do is I always tip it just once or twice, and then I use it to lubricate my cork. That way, all those rich, savory flavors are now in there, and it's not going to be so watery.
I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry, but that's kind of like my little thing on the show. Pecanwood barrel.
Oh.
Kind of missed that. I didn't quite get Vanessa Kitty's response there, but she's actually quite an interesting person. She rolls her own cigars.
Whoa.
Yeah, Vanessa Kitty. Pecanwood barrel might do nicely for aging.
I've heard of that. I've actually heard of that, and I've had conversations with one of our barrel makers about that specific style of wood. So who knows? Maybe in the future.
Okay, now where this one is a spike of almost like, now it's almost like an herbal tea. Now it's opened up a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely some herbaceousness to it. Yeah.
This one, much more settled. Kind of reminds me of a Calvados, but
totally.
I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah. One thing I really like about it is the way that it rides this line between a rye and an apple brandy or a Calvados. So you're getting the notes of the apple coming through on the nose, more like apple cider maybe. One thing that is really big in the Hudson Valley that I love is apple cider donuts. I don't know if you guys do those here.
Yes, they do that.
And I get some little bit of apple cider donut kind of expression.
Somebody who gets pastries besides me, guys. Marty is like you and your pastries. Goodness, this would be incredible with a brandy sidecar.
Totally.
Yeah. And a couple of other fun cocktails. No. Now, how do you get the apple wood in there? The oak and apple wood. Are you making the barrel out of oak and apple wood, or are you toasting a stave or so? What you doing?
So we work with our cooperage out of Minnesota. They actually especially cut and toast the apple wood for us.
Okay.
So what that does is it gives us the ability to use apple wood. We actually considered when we first came up with this project, we considered using apple wood and getting one of our coopers to make a barrel for us out of apple wood. But we did a little research and we found that apple wood is actually far too porous. It's just a very porous wood.
Okay.
So we got our cooper to actually especially treat the wood, toast it, and then drill it into this kind of honeycomb, these large honeycomb sticks, these long honeycomb sticks, and then those will insert in the barrel, and it will extract this really cool apple wood expression in about a 6-week period.
So you have the stick toasted and then seasoned and is drilled through numerous times into a honeycomb pattern.
Yep.
So that way you're getting the seasoned outside and the fresh, rich savoriness on the inside.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so more maximum coverage, faster exposure, and you're getting rich, fresh wood as well as seasoned toasted flavoring.
A little bit of toast. It's a very light toast, though. We're not so much going for the toast profile. We're more going for that true kind of genuine expression of the apple wood.
Honestly, I think you nailed it. This is absolutely wonderful.
It's a really cool profile that we're continuing to kind of evolve and expand.
Gotcha. Now I got one that I brought for you. This one is our private barrel pick. This is the Widow Jane 12-year-old, and this one is bottle number 62 out of barrel 1913. I'm sorry, 1913.
There you go.
And so I can't do math since I shoved the army man up my nose. I can't do math.
Did you actually have a part in?
I did help pick
barrel?
this one. Yes,
Very cool.
I am on the barrel team.
Very cool.
Since we can't go to New York, you guys send the samples.
It's okay. You're welcome anytime, though.
And so I will actually take you up on that, and I will go actually do a live stream or something out there with you guys in New York. Okay, math is good. Yes. Let's see here. Imagine. Okay, I want to kind of read. D2 just joined us.
40% triple distilled, twice chill filtered.
Also some nice caramel coloring. Okay.
Sounds like a scotch.
Oh man. This one is good. It's kind of pecan, caramel. This one is your bottle there. For me, now it's opened up. Definitely heavy on the caramel. Sweet little brown sugar. Call it Dalmore. He's drinking Dalmore.
Okay.
Now where this one is...
I picked up on that. Well played.
He's the distiller. Notice I didn't pick up on it. Okay, this one is a little bit more subtle, where this one is more rich caramel.
Yeah, I mean, as this one sits, it's going to open up the way this has, for sure.
If not, we can always put a splash of water in it. But, oh, you're not drinking Dalmore ever. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot he hates Dalmore. I forgot about Sorry, D2. Okay, now I'm getting a ton of apple showing up on it.
For sure, yeah. And I really, buttery, creamy.
Oh, that's nice. On the palate, it is a chocolate wafer. And now vanilla is showing up in that wafer. Touch of brown sugar. Kind of a chocolate drizzle now. Chocolate is just really, really sticking around.
Yeah, cherry chocolate even.
Cherry is definitely a good call on that. Wow. Mine's kind of going to a chocolate drizzled cherry pastry.
I like
kind
that.
of going there, yeah.
I like that a lot. I get a lot of like almost like a buttercream. So like a sweet buttercream. So just like and then maybe like on maybe a buttercream that's on a sweet cornbread.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, definitely it's the newfangled really sweet cornbread. It's not the traditional dry cornbread, but the one where they're putting sugar and condensed milk in it, eating it like a cake. It's definitely, as it's opening up, getting more of the caramel.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's also very dry.
Yeah, the rye spice comes through. You're really getting this like, just like depth and balance. Even though it has the sweetness on the front, it really doesn't drink like a sweet bourbon.
No, that's actually really nice. Man, yeah, the chocolate is just truly sticking around there.
You know what's funny about the chocolate, and I think it's maybe just like a little bit placebo effect or psychosomatic for me, but our distillery is actually in
price points.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So our distillery is actually in a chocolate factory. So if I can paint a picture, my favorite part about walking into a distillery, any distillery, is you get that smell of the freshly cooked grains. So whether it be a rye day or a bourbon day, you're smelling all of those really cool like bready aromas. So imagine that, or even the smell of the estery compounds coming off the still, so those like really cool kind of slightly banana notes, and then imagine that alongside freshly roasted dark chocolate, or cacao, I should say. So
is a factory still making chocolate?
Yeah, we're active chocolate factory. We get our beans shipped in raw from the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And then the entire rest of the process being to bar. So in a weird way, even though it's probably not really finding its way into our whiskey directly, I think indirectly there is this chocolate note that I find in our whiskeys, especially our bourbons, that is just sort of serendipitous, being that we are a chocolate factory and a whiskey distillery.
Okay, a fun fact about me, for probably most of you know, but you don't, is I got into alcohol because I spent 5 years developing candies.
No way.
And it was, I got out of it, and I missed working with my palate, so I started looking into becoming a sommelier, started studying wine. Guy who hired me at his liquor store was training me, then took me to pick a barrel. I could barely drink bourbon. I'm dying. drinking this bourbon, and he comes over, looks at my notes, says I have a really good palate for bourbon, and I was going to be his bourbon guy. And my response was, "Oh crap, I got to learn to drink bourbon." And the rest is kind of history. I do love my bourbon now.
Well, I'm excited to show you the chocolate side of the business.
Okay,
The name of the
gotcha.
chocolate company is Cacao Prieto, and I highly recommend you look them up. They're seriously the best dark chocolate in America. So price points. It depends on your market, obviously, but average price of the 10-year will be probably about 70.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yep.
Varying on market to market with, of course, state prices if you are in an alcohol beverage controlled state.
Sure. Maybe 80. It's between 70 and 80.
Are you nationwide?
Pretty much. Not
Pretty much?
every
Okay.
single state, but most. We just got distribution not too long ago in Paris, France, as
Nice.
well as a little bit of distribution in Milan and London as well.
Okay.
So
What about
slightly
these guys?
national, or slightly international. For the ryes, you can usually find these around 45 to 55.
Okay.
I
I definitely recommend trying the Applewood. It's really quite unique.
Very unique. And then the 12-year, if you can find it, because a lot of times when it goes on shelves, it just immediately goes off shelves. That stuff will typically go 90 to 100, somewhere
90
in
to
there.
100? Okay.
Yeah. I did bring something special for us.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to step off while you're pulling that out to
Please
grab one
us
more glass.
One more glass for us.
Yes.
So this is our Baby Jane. Currently distillery only, but it's kind of important for us to be able to share what we're doing in Brooklyn, 100% in Brooklyn with with the world, and make sure people know that we are making whiskey as well as creating these blends. So
okay, 375.
Yep, 375 packaging currently. That's what it looks like right there. This is so I think it's important to kind of take a quick step back and just talk a little bit about the grain that goes into this, because a lot of people dive right into the first step of making whiskey is it's the cook, but truly the first step starts with the farmer. We like to reflect on that at Widow Jane and talk a little bit about how important agriculture is. So when we started off making bourbon, we really wanted to highlight what different kinds of corn could do to produce different kinds of bourbon. Being that corn is the lifeblood of bourbon, we wanted to highlight these different kinds of corn. We started working with two varietals that were our favorite. One is called Wapsie Valley. It's this cool kind of heirloom corn that looks like candy corn when it's shelled. It's got this tangy sweetness to it. And then the other corn was called Bloody Butcher, blood red corn. And that particular corn, yeah,
I know that one.
There's a distillery here in Kentucky that works with it, and there's other people across the U.S. that work with it as well.
So, I'm sorry, I'm just going to read this for those who didn't see. Made with non-GMO heirloom grains, included ingredients: organic Baby Jane corn, rye, and barley. Now, I have never heard of a Baby Jane corn. So is that something you guys made?
Yep. So those two varietals, those two heirloom varietals are readily available. If you're out in the market for heirloom grains, you can find them. But we knew that heirloom grains were going to be conversation, and we wanted to do something truly unique for Widow Jane. So we started actually working with our farmers in the Hudson Valley, just right outside of that mining town, planting these two varietals of corn side by side. And because corn is open air pollinated, we were able to get a hybridization to occur naturally. So it didn't just happen overnight. I like to say this is a 1.5-year-old bourbon that took us 4.5 years, 5.5 years to make. So it was a process. Literally, our team was going up there to the farm, going through the fields, picking the cobs, finding the cobs that were the true hybrid of the two corns. So one is, like I said, candy corn colored. The other one is blood red. So we were really looking for this corn that had the color dent and profile that we were looking for, which was this cool kind of sunfire orange kernel. So that over time, cheers. We were able to isolate that varietal, and now we actually plant a ton of this corn across America. So we grow this corn a little bit here in Kentucky, a little bit up near the Finger Lakes, and then we grow some seed corn in Pennsylvania as well. And it's just really exciting to be part of this heirloom corn renaissance, and this being a true hybrid varietal that is unique to us. It's our baby. We're Widow Jane. We call it Baby Jane.
Okay. Now I'm also going to throw out. You said a year and a half.
Yeah.
And that's the age of this,
Yep.
or is it
Yep.
mixed with anything else, or? And can I ask like size of barrels? Because normally when you have a 53-gallon year and a half, it's just very, very raw.
Of course. So this, and you can tell by the color. That's it's a pretty dark amber color for a year and a half old bourbon. So this was aged in 10-gallon barrels.
Okay.
And there is a blend of some whiskey that was aged in 53s as well. That stuff was maybe even a little older. So the youngest whiskey in the bottle is 1.5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the
18
label was
months.
1.5.
Exactly.
Okay.
And 80% corn, 10% malted barley, 10% malted rye.
Okay, so
Very expressive of the grain. That's
Yeah.
what we're going for.
smells like a cornbread. Maybe it's because we already talked
No,
about it.
totally, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's pan fried cornbread, in which when you make it in a skillet on top of the oven.
Yeah, it's
That's
got.
what it smells like. And also, I'm very sorry to interrupt, but
No, it's okay.
when normally you get something of this age, the first thing, I always describe it as that comical boxing glove that just comes out and punches you in the face of just raw, sappy grains and earth. It's just unfinished. But this is nice. I mean, I'm not getting any of that. I'm getting that nice, young smell of corn, but it's not offensive. It feels like I could really sit down and sip this. I have not sat down and sipped it yet, but whenever I start getting some of those young whiskeys, there's very few of them that you can really sit down and sip and not think of adding sugar or something to it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think this is a testament to our we're very diligent about our fermentation. We're very kind of obsessive, if you will, about making sure that the fermentations are very clean. We do a single pass distillation on this. If you don't want to get a little nerdy, that is basically running. We go straight into the pot, into our pot still with a side column. We go straight into it from our about 10% ABV mash. We'll go in there and we'll turn that in one distillation into 140 proof spirit, because the way we run the pot still with the side column, we don't have to do a double distillation.
What's up, Turtle Man? And Tim, it is good to see both of you in the chat. Thank you so much. All right, okay. You're drinking. I'm going to drink now.
Really cool balance of sweet and savory.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't drink like something that is young.
No.
And it has a rich tannin finish. Very buttery. It's very warming. It's not burnt end of a green stick. That's why I just or even I use this description for when you're using the quarter barrels. It's like microwaving.
Sure.
Because you're using a speed aging, and like we use speed cooking in the microwave, so it is cooking, it's just accelerating.
Sure.
This is actually hiding the fact that it's a quarter barrel. It's actually really quite unique. This is one of them, honestly. I do recommend, you can only get it at the distillery. I definitely recommend, if you see it in the bar, give it a try. It's quite unique. Now, I also got to ask, because I'm a cocktail guy, do you make anything with it?
I am a fan of making a nice cocktail with a nice whiskey. This, though, it's really kind of meant to be enjoyed on its own and experienced as a whiskey that is really meant to highlight the uniqueness of the grain.
There's your signature cherry.
It's in there.
Yeah, it showed up. It took a few moments.
I even get some lighter notes in here, like almost white tea. There's this honey in the background, like you mentioned cornbread. It's almost like a honeyed cornbread.
Sorry, I gotta touch the screen here.
Sure.
Hey, this is Superfluous. We've got a review of Widow Jane tin blend of bourbon coming out tomorrow. This is the Rock Gut review. Hey guys.
Oh, serendipitous.
And
yes,
spoiler,
it is
we love
serendipitous.
Yes.
Thank you. That's
Rock
awesome.
Gut Review is some fun reviewers. They do good whiskey, but they also have something called the Worst Whiskey Watch, which is where people send them what they think is the worst whiskey, and then they try and review it. And where everybody was doing March Madness winning they were doing the March Madness, where they were finding the absolute worst, and they had a great disclaimer: we're not out for blood, we're not out for vengeance, we don't want to see you fail. This is just two guys having fun drinking bourbon.
That's really, I will check that out for sure.
Yeah, they're fun. They're really a fun channel. They're guilty pleasure, and plus they're pretty funny. Okay, so yeah, this is that is actually really nice. I like that. I hate to sign off, but you've been out here with me. Maysville Club should win that worst with Maysville. Okay. Well, actually,
I can't speak to that.
just because.
Oh, you're not gonna.
There you go.
You're not gonna make me do this.
No,
right?
I'm not gonna make you do any more Malort. So there's Malort, guys. I say give me a $5 super chat and I do a Malort shot, but this one's on the house, guys. Oh, that's not tasty at all. I prefer drinking the bourbon. Woo! Bitter.
Yeah, you're a brave man. I don't do that. I don't touch that stuff.
Yeah, you ever.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. All right, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
D2. Please introduce and tell yourself who you were.
Oh, Vince Oleson with Widow Jane. Please come and see us in Brooklyn. We would love to have you guys.
Shoot out your Instagram, Twitter, and where they can find you.
Oh, so follow us on Instagram. It's at widow_Jane. And you can find us by the same tag, Widow Jane on Facebook. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hashtag Widow Jane.
I'm Jonathan J. Owen. This has been a really fun. This is one of the surprises you get when you keep hanging out on the Party Source Reviews channel. This has been a good guy. Great hanging out with him. And goodness knows who we've got in the future. That's the beauty of this channel. Cheers, guys. We will catch you next time. I got to find the button.